Hello everybody and welcome to the People's Interview, and I'm joined by the UltraDavid. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm fine and dandy. I mean, like I said, first time ever out of my country and first time in an American tournament. GG's, my friend, GG's.
That's awesome.
And first topic I want to discuss. You are indeed a bona fide lawyer in video games related law. Could you actually explain to me what that actually entails?
So most of it is contract work. Clients will need contracts done of some kind or business formation done of some kind. Negotiations and deal making is mostly what it is. There's some intellectual property too, copyrights, trademarks, that kind of stuff.
Right.
It's pretty interesting work.
Really? And you can base an entire category out of the FGC? I mean, well, just video games in general then?
It's not all fighting games. It's more expensive than that. And no, I don't just do video game stuff. I have clients who are in more entertainment, not necessarily traditional entertainment, but YouTube stuff, people who make merchandise, some of my clients too. So it's not exclusively video games, but that is a pretty big part of it.
Okay, gotcha. Right, you and your mate James Jen do a weekly show every week talking about FGC related topics, match analysis, etc. Do you believe talking about FGC topics is actually helpful at all compared to just actually discovering and putting theories into practice by oneself?
Yeah, personally, I've always gotten a lot of extra knowledge that I wouldn't have gotten when I talk things through. I think about things more than if I were in the game when I'm talking about it. Maybe that's not the case for everybody, but I've always had a better time of figuring things out and learning things. And when I talk about stuff on the show, sometimes I'll review whatever tape, whatever match I'm breaking down, and look at it in kind of a different light than if I were playing it than if I were commentating it live. So I kind of figure extra things out that I might not have been able to. So for me, it's very helpful, just personally speaking. But I hope that other people find that it's useful too. It seems that some people do, which I always appreciate. But yeah, I feel that there's a role for all the different takes on fighting games, playing it, watching it, breaking it down, writing stuff. Before I was doing this with James, for many years, I would go on Shoryuken and write, tomes about individual matches or matchups or tactics, all sorts of stuff. So it's always something that I've liked to do.
Okay, excellent. And the next point is, you and your mate James, you seem to be everywhere. When I turn on the stream, I'm just wondering, how hard is it to actually travel around to all these events? Is this out of your own pocket, or are you indeed sort of compensated?
It is a little much sometimes. There was a period of time a few weeks ago where I was gone for 5 out of 7 weeks, which was just a little too crazy. It's really fun. I mean, yeah, we are compensated mostly to the extent that we would otherwise pay for travel. There's sometimes a little bit of money on top of that. It's nothing to write home about, but yeah, I mean, usually we'll get our tickets taken care of and our hotel rooms taken care of. So it's not like we have to spend money to then, commentate for 15 hours a day. But it's a blast. I mean, I really enjoy it. I'm doing it less this year than the previous year. The previous year I was somewhere almost every weekend for 5 months.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I said, every time I turned it on, it's like, damn.
Yeah, that was too crazy. And my law practice has become a little bit bigger, a little bit more time intensive, so I can't do that as often. But yeah, I try to get out to as many things as I can. Almost done now, just Evo left, and then I'll have, most of the second half of the year to sit at home. There aren't as many events in the second half of the year, so I'll rest then, I guess.
And finally, to round it off, this is a bit of a big one. I hope we can get it all in. What was your take on Microsoft's failed attempt at DRM? And as a lawyer, would Microsoft have been allowed to sort of, gotten away with it? Because obviously, talk that it was just massively anti-consumer, but obviously you're in the know, so what was your take on it then?
Yeah, I don't think that they would have broken any American laws in doing that. DRM is mostly approved. I mean, it's very rare that it's so invasive that it's not, legally speaking. And when you buy something like an Xbox, there's a whole end user license agreement that details the terms of it, and you have to agree to that in order to play it. So they're not breaking any American laws. Interestingly, I know that in some countries the Kinect could be considered a surveillance device.
Yes, I believe the Germans are very. Yeah, they don't want it.
Right. Yeah. So that's an example. Australia is actually another example. There might be more, but those are the two that I've heard about. So it might run into problems from that end. In the U.S., it's not. In the U.S., our privacy law, even on top of NSA scandal and spying and stuff.
Oh yeah, that.
Even on top of that, it's already pretty weak. So we already don't have great protections. Better than some places. It's actually pretty weak in the UK too. But
Oh yeah.
yeah. But yeah, they weren't going to break any laws. It was here anyway. It was just a question of whether it was a smart move business-wise to have all that stuff, and it seems to not have been.
Oh yeah, for sure. But anyway, thank you very much for your time, Mr. UltraDavid, and.
Thank you very much.